So we're good. Okay, welcome to the August 19th, 2024 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the city of Plattsburgh. We've got 3 agenda items. Okay, welcome to the August 19th, 2024 meeting of the Board of Appeals. We good? Okay. We'll hear the applicants in the order that they're on the agenda. So we'll start out with Appeal 2376, Ryan Bennett. Come on down. Evening.
All right.
Good, and yourself?
Good, thanks.
We've read over your description for your area of variance. Tell us exactly what you're doing, because we see it in 2 different ways in the application.
So basically the width of the driveway at the apron, we're just gonna extend that straight to the brick.
Okay. Okay, so you are not increasing the width at the sidewalk, shall we
No.
say? Okay. That answers a lot of our questions that we had.
And you're keeping the brick.
Yes,
Okay, so the brick walk will stay.
yeah, so if you start where the south side of the driveway is, and
Yeah.
just extend it, that's it.
Extend up to the corner of the brick.
Yes,
Now let's clarify. You're extending it straight, going no wider than you are at the apron?
correct.
Okay, so you'll hit the brick somewhere in the arch.
About 4 feet before, because of the,
Okay,
or that picture. Go back up. This one, the next one. That,
okay, see, that's the one that confused us because it looks like you're doing 2 feet all the way up. It doesn't narrow down to 0.
well, it was painted, so I.
Okay. Okay,
So that's not accurate. The south red line is actually,
The southward one is. So the
That-
white post. Ish. right around there.
oh, you're in the
So
middle,
then you
you're in
are
the middle
extending
of the
it.
driveway. You're not at the sidewalk in this picture.
Correct.
That's the difference. He's halfway up the sidewalk or halfway up the driveway,
oh,
because that driveway is 40
okay.
feet. 41 feet long. That's where he's going.
But still. Misleading.
You wanna go back to the street view? We have one south of it, or? So that corner where the grass meets the sidewalk. Hop across and then,
Right there where the hand is.
and then just straight to the post.
Basically rectangle.
Exactly. So the driveway goes from 2 cars wide to 1.5 to 1. So we just want to make it 2 cars wide in the front.
Is the north side of your driveway on your property line?
It is. It's built in 1933, so cars were a lot smaller. And people didn't have multiple cars.
Looks like that's the case for the whole neighborhood in terms of the driveway and the property.
Okay. Basically, the issue. Now, your square footage is off, but that doesn't matter, just as long as you have enough. But the issue is you're putting a parking spot in the front yard. Setback in front of your house. And that's something that we don't like to do. Just, there's a number of reasons. One, it's not how we want neighborhoods to be, that sort of thing. But the other is once we start doing it, then everyone says, oh, well, you gave it to him, give it to me, and then all of a sudden we don't have anything. And the city has said that they didn't want parking in the front yard
Okay.
of a,
A lot of the houses have a single driveway, like 2 cars behind, for parking. And that goes down the street. Most of those driveways existed because of Morrison Avenue prior to development.
For the exit after Morrison?
Yes,
that would be nice.
it would be beautiful, absolutely.
Well, and I agree, looking at. There's a variety on, shall we say, Beekman in front of the hospital. You know, across the street from the hospital, there's a variety of. There's 2-car wide, there's single car, there's a bunch with parking in the backyard. Some of the 2-car. The second car is not in front of the house, it's over on the side, but you're so close to your lot line. That you don't have that option.
But in reverse, the other issue that we see is that you are currently not in compliance with the current zoning. That when you purchased the house, you were fortunate that your driveway was already paved and out of conformity. So you currently have basically a second parking spot or a two-car width parking spot in your front yard. So asking us to kind of add to that that's a struggle.
It's a 100-year-old house, and things progress. The city wants to take away parking on Broad Street, but we don't have additional parking on those properties.
Yeah,
And I don't think the hospital is gonna let me, ask to park across the street or anything.
Is there street parking there in front of the house?
There could be, but it's frowned upon, I find, in the neighborhood and emergency services going to the hospital. It should be regulated, it's either left open, or if you spin around that picture, the hospital side. Maybe there should be street parking and annex that property as well. But who's gonna fight that?
It's kind of like Prospect along the same lines. There's no parking signs, but you'd be an idiot to park on it. Although Beekman's not near as busy as Prospect is. At certain times of the day.
Sometimes backing on the driveway is a little challenging at 7 to 9 minutes.
Okay, well, any other questions? Let me open up to the public for public hearing. Any comments from the public here? Yes, sir.
That's our house right next, that, it's south of it.
Yeah,
His house, right there. And you can see the width of our driveway. And Brandon mentioned, it's 100 years old. And we have an arch that goes under that roof over there.
mm-hmm,
And back when they made that, they were driving Model Ts. And I mean, I have a Outback, Subaru Outback. For that reason, I couldn't own anything really much bigger. We used to have trucks that would try to get down through that arch. And I'd end up repairing the siding because they would hit on it. But that's part of the character of that street. They're 100 years old. We like to keep the lawns as much as we can, the green. And for safety reasons too, when you're driving out, if there's cars parked down, on either side, that makes it difficult, especially nowadays with all those motorized scooters and e-bikes and all that. They come upon you really quickly if you can't have a good clear look in either direction. But part of the charm of that whole neighborhood is that it's 100 years old.
okay. Any other comments from the public? Oh, that's right.
Another question. Scott?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you go to the overhead view? So can you park 2 cars side by side at the front part of the driveway?
Barely.
But if they're offset, you can get out of the doors.
Correct. The problem is I have a company vehicle and personal vehicle, and my wife has a personal. Correct.
As part of the public hearing, there was also a letter from the neighbor on the other side, basically indicating that they're fully supportive of their desire to widen the driveway. They went on to say that you're doing an excellent job improving their home, and
We've done
That's
that work, sure.
yeah. And this will go into the record also. And I believe everyone got a copy of this. Okay. All right, if there's no other comments, I'll close the public hearing portion. The seeker, we have a short form.
Before we go to that.
Oh,
Am I allowed to not pave and just dig up the grass and put crushed stone down?
that's, no,
Even though it's removable or put pavers down or anything like that?
that's a,
Not if you're great at farm stuff.
Okay.
now, what I will say, and I should have said this right up front for everyone. We are a 5-member board. As you'll notice, there's only 4 of us here. You need 3 positive votes for it to go through. If you want to postpone and wait until we have a 5-member board, you're welcome to do it, and it won't go against it. Okay. All right, let's do the seeker. Number 2 is yes. Building permit. I think everything else was pretty straightforward unless somebody has any comments. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion that after review of the short assessment form for appeal 2376, that we find there is little or no impact with this project, and that the zoning chair should mark no or small impact on part 2 and sign part 3.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I will entertain a motion in regards to the proposal, and I think that we should limit it. I personally think it should be limited to no wider than what it is at the sidewalk.
Yes.
Meaning he's going from 0 to however at the, when he meets his pavers.
Okay.
Just, and the only reason I say is there was a statement, I'm taking it from there to the post. Well, if that post isn't in line,
Right.
if it makes it a little wider, I don't think we want it. But I'm not the one making the motion.
So you need a motion.
Yes, I do.
I motion that, and this, I'm not in practice of making motions on this board, so. I make a motion that we approve the. The variance for 90 Bateman Street to widen the. The driveway. To the extent that it is equal to the. The width of the driveway at the sidewalk.
Okay. Second. All right. Okay. You got 3 no votes and 1 yes vote. So it was rejected.
Okay.
And I won't speak for everyone else, but I will speak for myself. And I've always been against parking in the front of a house. And in my time here, we've approved one and I voted no on it. And they had, I would consider a better standing, but either way, every time I see cars parked in front of a house, I just don't think it looks good. I saw too much of it when I lived in California and I didn't like it.
So what was my next option?
I mean, when you say what's your next option, I leave it as is and deal with it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, Appeal 2377. I won't try it. Saba Bouchard, Bouchard.
Funniest thing with the neighbor was, I'm from Albania, my last name is Boucher, but his is Boucher.
Bushy.
Oh.
It's read the same within different living. Was a good coincidence.
Okay. 12 Sanborn Ave. Let's talk about your fence.
I want to start by apologizing first. I mean, I had my dad over the summer and we got the place 2 months. He came to help in moving because I'm off through the summer. And if I'd known that a permit was required for that, I would have started even ripping the older one apart. I asked around neighbors, sides, front and all, and it's like, there was a fence there, so it should be good. So that's kind of the reason we went to do that. And one of our neighbors helped with, putting the posts and stuff. Kind of it was the moment. Otherwise, I would have never gone for that, knowing that it could be something that's,
Okay.
that has to be pushed down or so.
Okay.
So that's, yeah, I hope you understand that was not intentionally in no way.
Okay,
Thank you.
so but you moved the fence.
Yes, that's true. I have included some older pictures as well. These are two of the previous ones. I did not take a photo of it as it was. It was actually Google, like my
Mhm.
view, because I didn't anticipate that it's going to be something I need. And after that, I tried to take from the same point of view on the new look as well.
So the zoning regulation, if I'm correct, is that for a fence in the front yard, in front of the house, so in the setback, the setback can only be 4 foot. So, so I read that as being the primary issue here, is that?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, and it's not just the front of the fence, it's everything that goes up to the front of the house. Is it the setback or the front of the house? Okay, so from the front of the house out, basically that whole leg, all of the front and the leg going back on
So
the
it's
front.
190-degree angle, if I can explain that properly. I have included also a schematic, if,
Yeah.
like maybe that can show exactly, I put some lines on. I knew I would have it difficult to explain it by wording, so that one hopefully will help. There's an attachment that's on the second image. Not this one, I think there's another one, yes.
Yeah.
This one should be it. Yeah, if you can zoom out a little bit, we should see, I included both, yeah, see the dashed red lines, that's where the older fence was. And then the new fence is the green line, so still same position. And the reason for pushing front as well was barely because the area up to the old fence is pavers. And just pushed for that to have a ground play area for the kids. And I thought, it's something that they could they could make use of, and we could leave them, you know, put maybe some small park or something right there. That's the only reason we push that item. And in addition to that, when I talked to the inspector that actually came after we built it, and it's like, you know, the old fence as well was not a permit or so. I have no idea. It's been there for 30 or 40 years or something, probably. I have no idea about that.
Well, and it could have predated the zoning code for all we know.
Probably, yeah.
Um, Because I don't think, I'm not sure when the zoning code kicked in, but
Would it, would there be a reason that you couldn't cut 2 feet off of the fence? Off the
I
top?
mean, I fully intend to oblige if that's the case. What I should do, you know, I'll try to get help and do that for sure. The reason for that, you know, why I went for 6 feet in the first place was, you know, like some added sense of security and so, in that side of the house, just some feet away, there's a, you know, we have a deck which is just a sliding, you know, glass door. And then the next door after the glass sliding door is another still glass doors. So either, you know, in that case, I would have to either do something and maybe put something else there or change them. It's, I mean, we're not paranoid in any way, but it's just an kind of added sense of security as to just one glass door, you know.
What is running along your property line there? Is
Oh.
there an existing fence?
That's our neighbor, so they bought their house just a little bit before us. They put a fence there, a shorter fence. It's probably one of the photos on the side, should be able to see that, not the older one. No, this is old view, so I don't think there's gonna be, yes. I don't think that's gonna be there, but if you look at the document, there's one photo I took from the side that should see, I believe, yeah. The other one above, a little one more, yeah, that should, you see there, it's another, basically they build a fence as well on the side.
Do you know how tall their fence is?
I think it's about 4 feet, I think. I believe it should be 4 feet, because I can see when it merges on the corner, it's shorter than ours. Yeah, if you notice, that's why, you know, so that's, and it actually worked, like I mentioned, it was a bit spontaneous. Because the neighbor was working on it and kind of, it gave us some push as to, you know, we could add some sense of privacy as well. And that hence what we went through with it. So, and I saw in terms of support, I mean, I was wishing earlier on the back that I wish, you know, I could, if I knew that I could bring my neighbors or so to, or maybe get the letter from them as well. They've been very supportive in terms of the changes. So got some help through the summer, and I think we did a good change, as the gentleman that I bought it from was a little bit on the older age and couldn't do much in the last years or so.
There's like a gap between the fence. Is it just that you've stopped doing the work until you
Yes,
deal with
so
all of this?
that's a door that opens in.
Oh, okay.
That's a door, like the fence door that opens inward.
So can I just confirm, we are discussing the height? Does the encroachment of 7.5 feet come into play in all of this, or are we good there?
no, where you can have a fence in your front yard, but 4 foot's the maximum height.
Okay. I didn't know if there was any additional things, so
No.
this is strictly height.
No, so the fence that is there between the neighbor's property and the next neighbor, there's that 4 foot chain link fence, that's all legal.
That's between next neighbor.
Yeah, yeah,
4 foot
Third,
wouldn't matter, setback wouldn't matter, it's 4 feet. So you can-
Right.
correct. You can put basically a fence on your property line if it meets the height requirements.
In the scheme, I also put the measurements just to give an idea. We try to make sure that for sure it doesn't block any, views as we move by or as you move through the neighborhood. So it's still inside as not to block anyone, like not to create blind sites basically on the street as well.
Well, one thing that I did notice, and I can't say it for sure, but I think the fence that came down wasn't as tall as that fence right there. I mean, you just take a look at it in reference to your property, but also the house behind. How you can see a fair amount of the house, and then when you show pictures of the new fence, the fence is, you don't see the,
It's just a matter of I think, of the view of where the photo is taken from. One photo is taken from me, one is Google Maps. But
Well-
the only thing that changed is actually the style. So it was, just like a 6 foot that goes one side up, and this is like dog ears style. But I'm pretty certain that
well, if I draw a straight edge across that, the fence in the old look, it's about even with the bottom of the two windows on the right.
The other issue I'm seeing a little, your fence doesn't start at the ground. Right, so you have the 6 feet of the board itself, but it also is up on your post.
so.
Do you know how high up that is? It looks pretty significant over on the
No,
left.
It's so the area itself, the yard, I think it was supposed to, the previous owner probably left some sort of a channel on the side of the property. So the area goes downwards on the side there.
What's underneath this part here? It almost looks like it's on top of,
No, that's
Looks like it's
basically,
built
so
up.
this is where it starts, so it goes downhill from there, and if you look at the bottom of the trees, there it's 10 inches or probably 1 feet above the side there, because, so we put the fence to stay straight. And the area, though, it's not straight, so what I plan to do is I plan to basically even out so on our borderline with the neighbor, it's like a channel, like a dip in there. Probably I think there was hedges all the way to the end, and when they removed those hedges, kind of the ground fell there. So that's why it's uneven. So what I plan to do on that is basically we plan to do grass for both of those, for his side and my side, and even it out where we are in our, basically where our property lines meet.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Like to open up to the public. Any comments from the public? No? Okay, I'll close the public hearing portion. Again. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. No, that's all right.
I won't speak for the other board members, but I'm struggling with your height. Especially since you have a neighbor that has a 4-foot fence. And also because you came 7.5 feet closer to the road. The fence itself is beautiful. Let me just say you did a great job with it. It's beautiful. But I am struggling with that height. And I believe our fearless leader will explain the rules, but if we vote on what you're asking for and it's denied, that kind of limits you. So I guess I want to ask you, would you be willing to come down to 4.5, 5 feet? I think 6 feet is a lot for that, for what you have there for your yard and the neighbors and everything. I'm just wondering, would you be willing to come down to a smaller number?
Like I said, I mean, I even, you see the posts, I stopped doing anything on it, they're not even cut down yet, so just because the posts at the top, they, you know. When the inspector came and said, you know, you gotta first deal with it and then, so definitely, I mean. You know, I will. Comply with whatever, you know, whatever it's needed, so that should be fine for me too, you know, so if it's. The bulk cutting it, I can definitely try and lower it as well. And yeah, for sure, I can try and do that as well.
What I will reiterate again, as I did for Ryan, there's only four members. You need 3 positive votes, even though there's only 4 members. And so it is up to you if you want to postpone until you have 5 members. I will say if you, as you probably noticed, we're struggling with this. So.
I mean, I don't think it will make a difference if, basically, if it's voted as 3 no's, it's 3 no's, even if 5 people are here, so automatically it would be okay with it, so.
Okay.
It should be fine, thanks for
right.
considering that.
Let's do the seeker. I think everything was pretty straightforward on it. I'll entertain a motion in regards to the seeker.
I'll make a motion to approve the short environmental assessment form for appeal 2377, saying little or no environmental impact. And checking no or small environmental impact, the question is 1 through 11.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I'll entertain a motion. And I guess it doesn't have to be exactly this.
I just.
Yeah, please do.
Negotiate before you do the motion, because if it goes no, that hamstrings him and puts onus on us to determine whether or not a new one is gonna be significant, so before you do it, just. Feel it out
Okay.
a little bit, if that's all right, if not, you can go ahead and do it, but let's do the suggestion.
Okay. I'll let you take the wheel.
Okay. So I make a motion to approve, for a
Well,
modification,
did you hear what he just said?
yes,
You can go ahead and.
Did you want to just do a motion, a modified motion?
yes.
Okay, all
Is
right,
that okay?
that's fine.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Okay. So, I make an appeal, or I'm sorry, I make a motion for approval for appeal 2377. To modify the request, and approve for a fence. That is no more than 5 feet at. The ground's lowest point within the range of the current fence. Basically, and to remain even across the fence. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So in essence, you're gonna get. You're gonna get a 5-foot fence potentially if it's approved. At your highest point, and but it's,
Well, it's actually the lowest point of the grade, is what
Okay.
you're saying,
yes,
correct?
correct,
So 5 feet from the lowest point of current grade. And no higher than that
going across.
all the way around. And this only affects in the front yard setback. Okay, once you hit the front of the house, if you want to go up to your 6 foot, that's allowed by code.
So you mean in front of the house, it's allowed, but not on the,
No, anywhere from the front line of the house towards the street would be limited by our motion.
see,
Behind that, you can go up to 6 foot because that's allowed by code. So then if, back where your sliding door is, you could do take a step up to a 6 foot fence
see.
for their back and get more privacy from your neighbor. But once you hit that line that is even with the front of the house,
So it actually has to come to this.
you'd have to step down. And usually what they do is just step it. But if you wanted to slope it, that's up to you.
I'm expecting no way on that. I'm gonna see what anyone can do rather than me.
I mean, I put in a fence a few years ago and it goes from 8 feet and it steps down to 6 feet in my side yard and it just steps 2 feet.
I have the same in my yard
So,
from 6 to 4.
and does motion on the pattern, the map that he shows,
Say that again.
on the diagram that he shows, you're talking allowing up to that,
Oh, yes,
okay,
to where you have currently built,
All right.
yes.
so per his diagram,
In other words, if you ever put anything up in front of it, you'd still be under the 4 foot. In other words, so if this motion passes, the fence that you have made would be a 5 foot fence. But this motion only applies to that fence, so that if you ever put more fencing in the
Oh,
front
yeah.
yard, it would have to be 4 foot.
I see, perfect.
Right.
Sounds good.
okay. All right. Okay. You got 3 yes votes and 1 no vote. Grumpy me said no. My wife told me, be nice when I left the house today, but I just had a problem with coming farther into the setback. But you got your yes, so you're good to go
Thank you.
and live
very
within
much.
the parameters that we have. Okay,
Thank you, I appreciate for understanding as well, it's
Okay.
being after the fact, so, thank you.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Is that about
Thank you.
Yeah,
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 I talked there for you.
remember.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Take care.
Okay, finally, Nicholas and Nadine Karam.
Correct.
Good evening. That is fine. Okay. You got quite a few things on your property.
We had no idea there's a permit required, so we apologize for that, giving it's our, private property.
So we've been through it. There's no issues with coverage. The main there's a couple of issues. One is because you're on a corner lot, you have two front yards. Okay, so your, what you would probably call your side yard is treated as a front yard. And you cannot have an accessory structure in the front yard setback. Okay. They have to be in the backyard only,
Rear yard.
rear yard.
Now, and then corner lot, rear yard. It's gotta be the rear yard of one, but it's gotta be out of the front yard setback in the other. So if
Okay.
if those buildings were beyond the front yard setback. They'd be in a legal location. Just.
So if they only had these two, they could put them behind the driveway next to the fence and they would be legal.
Yes.
Okay. So because you would consider that your backyard, so it's in the backyard. But then we have the additional issue of 5 accessory structures when you're only allowed 2.
So even if it is a wild structure, kind of, that you go with
They're
it.
movable.
Excuse me?
Even if it is a mobile structure that you could move.
They're movable structure.
Yeah, they still regulate them. The city of Plattsburgh still does. Am I correct? Yeah. So even though they're movable, they have to be movable to a place that's allowed.
Oh,
By code.
We do not know that they can ordinance for the city, so, the reason we put those, one is because, you know, we have a lot of squirrel in the property. And, every time we put the trash there, squirrel come in and now the next day is a mess day. So we thought if we hide it in those, and we made every effort to match those, sheds to the color of the house, so cosmetically it will look good. And that's the reason we put them in, actually, we have a big property to maintain, of structure to in equipment to hide that. So we thought that would be kind of cosmetically better than leaving the trash can into there. And having to clean it every day. With neighbor complaining about it.
Well, actually, doesn't your deed say you can't leave your trash cans out in your front yard?
Beg your pardon,
I believe your deed doesn't allow trash cans to be left in the front yard.
where,
Assuming that you're in the old Northway Estates.
yeah, well, you know, where you're gonna put them, it's just that every time you put them out, the squirrel comes in.
Well, yeah, that's one thing putting them out, but
But the reasons why we can't have them much. When we bought the house, there was a noise infestation. It took almost a year to clean it up. So we couldn't leave it in the garage, obviously, because of the noise. And then we couldn't leave it outside. So what do? So we thought that is the best solution to solve the problem.
So the setback here would be even with that side of the house. So the sheds. If we're just talking about the sheds and not the rest of the structures, the sheds would be okay, any place beyond, if you're not front of the house. So like along the white fence.
So, so if we move them, then we're fine with these two.
well, no,
With that part of.
with that part of it.
That part, yeah.
But we still have the issue of 5 accessory structures when you're only allowed 2.
Yeah.
Okay,
Are you able to put the seasonal equipment into the other shed that's inside the fence?
It's already full, I mean, if we have to. It's already full.
It's just also like, if we're talking seasonal, which means if we have to take it out in summer and spring and summer and remove it. Labor intensive, it's a gazebo, it's a very heavy gazebo. And it takes actually almost 2 days to put it up. But we bought it I mean, we do have a very big property and we bought it because we do have a lot of kids in the neighborhood and I thought it's just a good idea and we remain under this zone.
What are your other, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what are the other structures?
Some other structure.
Well, we have a gazebo, should have a big pool for the summer, and gazebo just for shade. That's an open air gazebo without walls? Yes,
Without walls.
just like a,
Yeah.
just, yeah,
It's like the sounds flow.
that's the one that you see over there, yeah. And, I have my greenhouse, it's my zen, I have a special dog, and I use it to decompress, and, to leave it on the side like a fish for my patients. So I plant all my tomatoes here and vegetables. Do you leave it up during the winter? Yes. I mean, it's just, we put it last year, and this is right here,
So we didn't know we needed the permit. The reason for the greenhouse, we did a huge renovation. Actually, I think there's a permit from our builder for the renovations we did. And instead of throwing all these material, we didn't buy anything. It's just our own old material, our old windows, wood structure, everything. And like, instead of hauling it away, we thought it would be a good idea to build a greenhouse because we do have, so where you see the lot, we still have a lot of greenery. Unfortunately, I can check, I think I have pictures where you can see the inside of the property, but we do have a lot of greenery between where the basket hoop is to the green, and then we have a pool, and then we have green on the other side. So it is on the other side of the fence, a big property. And it was just green without anything, and we thought it would be a good idea. So you can see the green on the left side of the pool, so that this whole area is just grass.
So structures there, the size of the.
No, it's two.
No matter how big the property.
The garage area is the entire inside of the garage, or is it living space above, like on the second floor?
It's living space on the side,
Okay,
The second floor.
accessible from the house part, not the garage.
not the garage.
Yeah, open to the kitchen. But the garage, we use it for, we have 2 cars.
Yeah. And sports equipment, bicycles, we have kids and teenagers, so our garage is actually.
We made a lot of improvement in the house since we came in, both from inside and from outside and. With I don't know if we know the whole order, but we made a lot of improvement, with kind of not a well maintained house. And we made every effort to kind of make it look better on inside and outside.
And
It's a
even the
beautiful
gazebo,
home.
You see with the gazebo, I tried to, when I bought it, I tried to match the roof of our house. So we made all the efforts to make aesthetically, to make it look better. But it's just functional for our day-to-day life.
I did not know about the ordinance that I cannot put structure on my property, just something new to me.
Yeah, because it was, on the other side of the fence, so we never thought that it's something we need a permit for.
So, where is the difference between like a tent house and a gazebo?
Like the temporary plastic.
Yeah.
Like, if it's the canvas type material, not canvas, but I'm talking about the tarp type of material, that's not considered a structure, but you start putting wood and other materials together, that's what considered a structure. That's what's the time of our zoning.
Yeah.
I don't speak for the rest of the board, just my own perspective. I think your home is beautiful. I think your property is really beautiful. I do struggle with the 2 sheds on the outside of the fence, what you have on the inside. First of all, I totally support the greenhouse thing. I'd have one if I could of my own. I think it's great. The gazebo is beautiful. I think what you have behind the fence, even though you're over because you're only allowed two, you have those three things. I think, like you said, the size of the yard, the green space that you currently have, those things are good. Truly, for me, the issue is the two sheds on the outside of the house.
Which can be moved.
If you could, I'm not sure. Again, I don't speak for the rest of the board. I personally, if you could find a room in either your garage and or your other shed for the one shed for equipment, that'd be ideal. And even if you made a smaller contained box of something further back in the other, like over, you had one of the pictures had right there. So on the left, like in that corner or over somewhere hidden that's in the backyard, that's a covered little thing. I know I've seen them, maybe 4 feet tall that are little enclosed things
Yeah.
for garbage cans. Those are my bigger issues. I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that, but I would not want to see those in that particular neighborhood. I think that that's the bigger issue.
Yeah, besides the number of structures, was there any question or issue with the setback of like the greenhouse?
No.
Then
It's
Just those.
number and the fact that those two are in the front yard. But yeah, that's it.
If we move those, those sheds to a, I don't know, visible place in our backyard, that would be okay.
I don't know.
That would be the vote. So.
Yeah, you're still asking for 5 structures instead of 2. I would ask for consolidation of the one to put your equipment into your garage and your other shed and make a smaller container for your garbage that is, just a little bit bigger than your garbage and your recycling can. I mean, that's a pretty decent size shed for a garbage can and a recycling bin.
I'd like to open up to the public, anybody in the public. There was one letter sent in support and against. It's from your neighbor across the street, the Kirks. I believe you probably know them. They said they not opposed to the structures behind the fence, but we prefer if the 2 metal sheds on the side of the garage facing Pinewood be moved behind their fence. And that was signed by Tiffany, but it was submitted by both Mike and Tiffany. So no other public comment. I'll close the public comment portion. Let's do the seeker and then talk about what we think we may want to do. Are you going to require a retroactive building permit for anything?
I think that probably not. I think what you are,
Okay,
what you're gonna do is,
okay. Then I don't, unless somebody sees something in the seeker.
Actually, I'm gonna take that back and say yes,
What's that?
we're going to ask them because they did put the gazebo and the greenhouse in there. But we would.
Okay. Then question number 2 should be yes. Building permit. I'll entertain a motion in regards to the seeker.
I'll make a motion, after review of the short assessment form for Appeal 2378. That we find there is no to little, environmental impact. And that the chair can sign no or small impact. Numbers 1 through 11 on part 2, and then sign part 3.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Couple of things, I just want to reiterate, we're only 4 people out of 5. You need 3 yes votes. But I'll give you kind of a read. I don't think the application, the appeal as written, my personal feeling, I don't think will fly. I know I don't like the idea of 5 structures, accessory structures. And I do agree with the Kirks about structures outside of the fence in a case like that, because in theory, they're supposed to be in the backyard. You do have a fence up, you have a lot of room behind the fence, and it minimizes the effect of multiple structures if they are somewhat not hidden, because you can still see them, but at least they're minimized by being behind the fence. And if you wanted to get more room, you can add on to that fence. There's nothing that says that fence has to be where it is. You can come out farther, you just can't come out at that height past where the surface of your building is, because then it would be in the front yard. So that's always an option also that would get it. I can't make a motion, otherwise I would. But I tend to support where you were headed.
So I don't know if you heard the details of the last person that we spoke with. If we vote on what you've asked and we all say no, that means that you have to go back to what the zoning requires, which is 2 accessory buildings. So what I would propose is a modification of what you're asking. I also feel that the board, I'm not speaking for them, but I'm getting a sense that you're not going to get the 3 votes. So we could talk about modifying and then ask for that to be approved.
Now-
To take, this is what I'm understanding, is that you take one of the sheds and move it behind the fence. And then lose the other shed, but maybe replace it with a, what they call like a garbage
Yeah.
can, like. There's, I
I
know what
I
you
don't
call
think
it,
we're,
that's not what you're talking about.
no, because 5 is still 5. And we're looking to diminish
and
the
4 is still
number.
4.
Yeah,
Oh, so you,
I-
you want to lose both of the metal sheds.
That would be my preference, is lose both of those sheds and approve what's inside the fence.
Inside the fence.
Yeah. Now, the other thing, remember, they don't have coverage issues. If they need to, they can add on to
Make the shed bigger.
make that the one shed, they can add on the side for storage for garbage cans, that sort of thing. Am I correct, Kyle? Yeah, so, they have options.
so that
Without
might
another
be a
structure.
solution. I hadn't actually thought of that you can add on to the side of your shed that's in your fence. and put a little area for your garbage can, and you could even potentially. I don't know if they would need it. They're not anywhere near coverage issue. Okay,
No. Even as they stand right now, they don't have coverage issues. So
So
they can add on that same square footage of those two. You know, even if it's on the side, which are separate doors. Type of thing.
Yeah.
So how can we word the motion so that in other words, if we pass the motion to allow the three structures and they want to modify one of the structures, would they have to come back?
Not to us, no.
Okay,
It would be a building permit.
it would just be a building.
Yep, because we would have given them 3 structures inside the fence.
Okay.
And what they do with that, as long as they live to setbacks and coverage, which they don't have issues with, they can just go and get a permit to add on.
it's a big shed.
Does that make
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion. I make a motion for appeal 2378, to modify the appeal to approve for removing the 2 sheds that are currently in the front yard setback, and to approve for the 3 existing structures that are within the fenced-in area in the backyard. Period.
Second. Okay. Does that work for you? Okay. You got 4 yes votes. So you're good. You do have options, realize that you do. But I think that it was a good compromise and meets kind of what we'd really like to see or not see.
We do also look at, we did not know that we're
I-
not compliant with any,
Let's see, yeah.
ordinance. But you want us to remove the 2 sheds, right?
Yep. Basically, that's all we're saying is remove those 2 sheds and you're good to go. If you need more room, talk to the building inspector and you can always add on whatever on the side of either your shed or your greenhouse or whatever. Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank
You
you,
too.
you too. I make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 17 meeting with no revisions.
July, June, what's this,
Oh,
June?
I'm looking at June.
Yeah, I think we did not meet.
Oh, yeah, we didn't meet in July. Did we?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Sorry, we did.
It's all right.
This was the golf simulator, so we. Did you get July?
I know, I didn't. meet stuff.
What did we have in July? Yeah,
I thought there was one that we canceled,
We definitely did.
maybe June.
I can run down again.
You can just approve them with next month if that's.
Yeah,
Okay, so, yes, so June 17th,
I think we've
Gordon.
already got through this.
Oh, did we?
who did we have last one?
We
I
had,
think the meeting was, one meeting was.
That was
That's
June.
this, June.
I'm pretty sure we skipped July. I can't think of who it was. When was the other guy on, was it Trafalgar? We did have July? What was the 1 month that we missed?
We missed March.
Wow, that seemed
Time
recent.
flies when we're-
So,
Sorry.
so was the July one, the other Trafalgar guy, was it Trafalgar? Yeah, it was right around,
Like Kurt,
was he last in July?
that was June. That's what's in
Unless
here.
it's just the date on this is wrong.
When were you, get to the market?
How many were in the June meeting? Do you have that?
Everybody.
How many did we meet? How many
Kim
appeals
was
were-
not here in June.
No, I was here.
In June?
Yeah, I have the June 17th meetings, minutes right here.
That should be, it's just legal.
That was Park Avenue, Trafalgar Drive and Prospect Avenue.
Okay.
That
So
was the
then,
June?
That was June 17th.
so the,
Okay, so this is mislabeled then.
so with the correction of date to
Okay.
July. What date was it?
I approve those meetings. Minutes.
July 15th.
Okay. All right, with that modification, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Last thing,
I make a motion that we adjourn the August 19th meeting.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's not, it's your late.
Right? We're so used to these 7:30 meetings.
Stop recording this.
Yeah.